after which there are some other classes of signals, like maybe a signal is an energy signal or a power signal and deterministic or random. All those things I'm going to probably provide you in notes, so we'll not cover that. And then from the next class onwards, we'll come straight to discrete systems, and maybe in a couple of classes I would want to end it and then quickly go to sampling. Okay, so that is the idea, but this topic is something which I feel is important to discuss, and I will go into details while discussing. Okay, so if suppose I consider A to be some complex number, and I consider alpha to be some complex number. In general, they can be complex. So I can write xt as mod A mod alpha e to the power j omega t plus 5, and I can write xn discrete time as A alpha e to the power j. Now what I'll do is that for writing in discrete time, just to differentiate the two quantities omega, I'll write it as omega naught n plus 5, because this creates a lot of difference. So I'm using this for continuous time, and I'm taking alpha as let's say, let me call this alpha 1 and let me call this alpha 2 e to the power j omega naught, and this is for this. Okay, so this becomes alpha 1 and this becomes alpha 2. So now if you look at these signals, then and let's just also kind of simplify it a little bit. Let's just say that alpha 1 is equal to 1, and the same is the case here, just for simplicity, because these are just magnitudes, some real number value which really do not affect the properties of the signals per se. So let's just remove them for now, and let's just simply write xt as e to the power j omega t plus 5, and let's write xn as e to the power j omega naught n plus 5. Okay. Now these are two signals, and these are basically not exponential signals, they are sinusoidal signals. Just a second. Where everything went. Just a second. So where it went is a mystery. E to the power j omega t plus 5, and xn becomes e to the power j omega naught n plus 5. They both come from the fact that I had taken a signal xt, which is basically a alpha t, and I have taken an xn, which was a alpha n. I had presumed that a is mod a e to the power 5, and I had presumed alpha to be alpha 1 e to the power j omega for continuous time, and I had assumed alpha to be alpha 2 e to the power j omega naught for discrete time, and thereafter I have also presumed, just for simplicity, that alpha 1 into a is same as alpha into alpha 2 is 1. So these two equations here give you these two equations. So this is basically what has happened. Now let's look at some very typical properties. If we look at xt and I expand xt, then xt is simply a sinusoid. It is cos omega t plus phi plus j sine omega t plus phi. And xn is cos omega naught n plus phi plus j sine omega naught n. So yeah, now this seem to be quite similar because if you look at it from the first very cursory and casual look tells you that they are sinusoidal signals. Because you see cos and you see time and you see omegas and you see phi. Phi's are basically radians. They are measured in radians. But they are fundamentally quite different. And the first fundamental difference is as follows. This alone will tell you that they are actually not the similar. They are not actually similar in their interpretation or in their even manifestation. Let's just look at it. Let's look at xt first. Okay. So in xt, you see a term called omega t, right? Phi is same, phi is radians, so we're not really interested in it. What is the unit for time? Unit for time is seconds. So if time is seconds and this entire quantity here is radians, then what will be the unit for omega? What will be the unit for omega?
Second inverse.
So not second inverse, it would be the entire thing should be radian, right?
Radian by second inverse.
Radian per second. It should be radian per second. Because you multiply radian per second with seconds, so omega t should have a dimension of radians. Because phi is radian, you can only add a similar quantity to it, which has to be radian. So the unit of omega is radian per second, and this is something that you know. You've studied this in class 11, class 12, whenever you studied circular motions or something, that the unit of omega is radian per second in continuous time, right? So this is what it is in continuous time signals. Now let's look at xn. In xn, you have a term which is omega naught n. Now what is the unit for n? What is the unit for n? If I were to ask you,
seconds ही क्या होना चाहिए?
No, n is an integer.
Oh, okay.
N is an integer. N really has no units, so it is dimensionless. N has no units. N is simply 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I mean, we have normalized the time, so we really have no units. So if n is dimensionless, okay. So if n is dimensionless, why did it come? Just a second. So n for you, not for you, in general, it is dimensionless because it is an integer. N is 0, plus minus 1, plus minus 2, plus minus 3, and so on. It has no units. If it has no units, what will be the unit for omega naught? Radian. It will only be radians. Now you see something which is kind of different in the sense that here you have a term which has a unit radian per second in continuous time, and here you have a term which is not radian per second, it is simply radian, which tells you fundamentally that these two values, omega, is not same as omega naught. And if omega is not same as omega naught, then obviously the properties that xt has will fundamentally not be same as properties that xn has. That means that xt and xn are fundamentally different. On the first cursory look, they may look similar, but they are actually not similar. I hope this is clear. And this happens because omega and omega naught are two different quantities. Is this clear to everybody here who's present in the class?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, so this is the first thing. So in the first go, we realize that these two signals are fundamentally different signals. Now let's look at another attribute which tells you that these are not the same, and there is something very peculiar about XL that is happening. Okay. Now let's look at XL. Let's, for instance, even assume that phi is 0. So this sequence becomes e to the power j omega naught n. Okay. Let's even remove phi. Let's just say that phi is 0 without any loss of generality. You can keep it also, but it doesn't matter. Now, what I do is, suppose I replace omega naught by a quantity which is omega naught plus 2 pi r, where r is an integer. R is 0, plus minus 1, plus minus 2, and so on. Then let's call that sequence x1n, which becomes omega naught plus 2 pi r n, which becomes omega naught n multiplied by j2 pi rn. What is going to be the value for j2 pi rn? What do you think will be the value for j2 pi rn? Yes?
1.
It'll always be 1.
Well, yes, sir.
Because r is an integer, n is also an integer, the product will obviously be an integer, and it is getting multiplied by 2 pi, and we know that e to the power 2 pi is an integer, and any integer, any integral value of 2 pi will always give us 1. So this will always be 1. So what you actually get is e to the power j omega naught n. So I can say that x1n is equal to xn. What does this tell you? This tells you the following property. It tells you this. It says that xn is always periodic in omega naught. That means that if you replace omega naught by omega naught plus 2 pi r, you will get the same signal. It also tells you that if there is a sequence xn, which is an exponential sequence in discrete time, it is only distinct between frequencies 0 to 2 pi, after which it will repeat itself. Which means that when you are going to study discrete time signals, the range for omega naught is going to be between 0 to 2 pi. Because after this range or outside this range, there will be some value which would already lie in this range, because the periodicity with respect to omega naught is 2. Sometimes they say that omega naught ranges between either 0 to 2 pi or it ranges between minus pi to pi. You can just take any one of these, and you can see that, you know, the difference in both the things is 2 pi, over here also and over here. So one important thing that comes out from this is that it will always be periodic in omega naught, and it will have distinct values only between 0 to 2 pi of omega naught. Beyond it, it will just repeat itself. So there is a range for frequency in discrete time signal which is 0 to 2 pi. But let's look at continuous time signal for now. So let's look at continuous time signal. So let's say that you have xt, which is इसको कम ले नहीं रहे, चाहिए तो 1 ले लिया, ओमेगा टी. Okay, now if suppose I say let me replace this by omega plus 2 pi r, where r is an integer, what do you get? You get some x1t, which is e to the power j omega t into e to the power j 2 pi rt. Now t belongs to real numbers, r belongs to integers, so this quantity here may not necessarily be equal to 1. I hope it's clear. This quantity will be equal to 1 only when t is 0, 1, 2, 3, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3. But for all those other values between 0 and 1 and 1 and 2, this value will never be equal to 0. So in general sense, I can say that this will not be equal to xt, except when t is 0, plus minus 1, plus minus 2, and so on. So this tells you that a continuous time signal is not periodic in omega. That means that if you replace omega by some omega plus 2 pi r, it's not necessary. Most likely you will not get the same signal back, which means that you cannot set a limit to omega. Omega, you cannot set a limit. Can't be put in a limit. Just like you could put omega not in a limit. So this is a very this is a fundamental difference between these two. So let's just recap it a little bit for better understanding. So initially I took xn as e to the power j omega n. I replaced omega naught by omega naught plus 2 pi r, and I saw that I got the same signal back. This tells me that xn is periodic in omega. You change it by a period of 2 pi, you will get the same signal back, which means that the signal has distinct content. That means samples will repeat itself after an interval of 2 pi. That means that there is no reason to have a value of omega which is different from 0 to 2 pi range. I mean, it will just give you the same answer. So either you can take the value of omega naught between 0 to 2 pi, or you have to take the value of omega naught between minus pi to pi. So that is basically in a range of 2 pi, omega naught will exist. But if you look at xt, then you realize that there is no such periodicity in frequency for this quantity, and you cannot put omega in any kind of a limit, and the sequence can only be periodic in this case when t has only very specific values which are integer values. But in general, t is a real number, so it becoming a periodic signal is only a special case, and we are not really formulating special results here. We just talking about what in general sense the nature of the signal is. So this is another thing that I wanted to tell you. Now let's look at another fundamental difference. So that means xt is not periodic in frequency. So the idea is that xt is not periodic in omega. Xn is periodic in omega. Periodic in not omega, periodic in omega naught, and omega naught lies in this range or in this range. That is the gist of the discussion. Okay, this is the gist of the discussion. So this also tells you fundamentally that the signals are different. They look same, but they're not same. And another reason why you can say that they're not same. Let's look at another reason why they're not same. So third point. Suppose I take a discrete signal. Let me just first take a continuous time signal first, this time. So that is e to the power j omega t. Okay. Now let us change t to some value t plus capital T. Let's try to find out the time period for this. So if I change this, then I will get a signal x1t to begin with. I say it is e to the power j omega t into e to the power j omega capital T. Now if I was to find what this value of t is so that the signal repeats itself, then for that periodicity this signal should fundamentally be equal to xt. So that means that e to the power j omega t into e to the power j omega small t is equal to e to the power j omega small t, which gives you condition that e to the power j omega capital T is equal to 1. I'm trying to find out this time period. We say that cos and sin are periodic signals in time. So we are trying to find out what is the time period. So that means omega t is basically 2 pi into r. This is some very standard simple, just a second. So this is some very standard simple trigonometric equation problem. So the value for omega, so the value for omega is 2 pi r by t, and since t is any number which is real, omega is any value which is real, and this time period capital T is basically 2 pi r by. That means I can say that a continuous time signal is always periodic in time. That means you will always be able to find a time period for this signal e to the power j omega t. You can always find it. Okay, and that time period is this value. Omega belongs to real number, t belongs to real number, r is an integer. Now let's look at discrete time. Yeah.
Sir, ये last sentence बोलो कोई repeat करना. A continuous time signal is always periodic in time.
In time. Yeah.
Sir, please.
Yeah. A continuous time signal is always periodic in time because you can find out that smallest value of capital T by setting this r to be 0 or 1 or whatever if it's the problem. So this basically would be r equal to 1. That will be the smallest value. That means the time period will always be 2 pi by omega. Okay, so maybe in this case we should probably set r equal to 1. Then we can say that this is time period because capital T should be the smallest value. So basically this is the time period, and so long as you have a value for omega, you will be able to assign a capital T for a continuous time exponential signal, which means, I again repeat, that a continuous time exponential signal or a continuous time sinusoidal signal will always be periodic in time. We know this because if I give you a cos wave, if I give you a sine wave in continuous time and I ask you what is the time period, you will always be able to tell me the time period because it exists for all values of omega. That means xt is periodic for all values of omega. That is, and xt is always periodic in time. Xt was not always periodic in frequency, but xt is always periodic in time. This is what you need to remember. Now let's look at what is the story with xn. So let's look at xn. Now xn is e to the power j omega naught n. Okay. So in this case, we don't fiddle with omega naught, but let's say that let's replace n by n plus capital N. So capital N is the time period for this. So let's look at what happens now. So if I say that this sequence becomes x1n, that will be e to the power j omega naught n dot.
सर एक लास्ट लास्ट वाले पार्ट में थोड़ा सा डाउट है.
हाँ बोलो.
सर हमने ओमेगा के लिए रिलेशनशिप निकाला है कि 2 पाई आर बाय कैपिटल टी होना चाहिए ओमेगा.
जनरल एक्सप्रेशन टी का ये है, बट टाइम पीरियड के लिए आर को सबसे मिनिमम रखना होता है ना. because capital T, the time period for any periodic signal is the minimum value for capital T when it starts to repeat itself. So that minimum value will come when R is 1. So that is why it becomes 2 pi by omega. But what is your question?
सर मैं गलत इक्वेशन को देख रहा था. ठीक है, मैं
अच्छा,
ओमेगा की टर्म्स में देख रहा था तो मतलब सम
okay. So you just have to see it in terms of T capital T. Okay. Anyway, so proceeding further, this becomes e to the power j omega naught n. Okay. Now, if this sequence has to be periodic, then this must be equal to x. Same principle, that if it has to be periodic, then the displaced signal should be equal to the original signal. So in that case, the equation that you get is omega n e to the power j omega naught n is equal to e to the power j omega naught n, which gives you e to the power j omega naught n equal to 1. Just a second, this thing has a lag. Okay. So this tells you that omega naught n is equal to 2 pi r. अब तक तो सब सेम चल रहा है, but now the interpretation becomes very different. Look at what I'm going to write and what I'm going to say very carefully. So now omega naught upon 2 pi is r over n. Now r is an integer. R is basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, minus 1, minus 2, minus 1. Oh, sorry, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5. And since we are talking about discrete signals, this value of n will also be an integer. It cannot be anything else, because xn में small n integer होता है, तो उसमें capital N भी integer नहीं होगा. That means that xn will be periodic if the ratio of omega naught by 2 pi is a rational number. If the ratio of omega by 2 pi is not a rational number, this function will not be periodic. I will give you some examples. Okay, so I think this is also clear. So the gist of this discussion so far is as follows. Number one is that in continuous time, omega has a unit radians per second. In discrete time, the same signal back, which means that omega naught has to be in the range of 0 to 2 pi. If you take a value of omega naught outside this range, you will always find a value of the signal within the range 0 to 2 pi for that particular value of omega. That means omega naught is confined to values 0 to 2 pi. It cannot be other than any of these values. इसके बाहर नहीं हो सकता. But if you look at a continuous time signal, then it is not periodic in omega unless or until the value for t is an integer value. That means fundamentally omega ranges between minus infinity to plus infinity. Third point, continuous time signal is always periodic in time. That means you can always find out one capital T based on some value of omega given to you, and the function will be periodic for that capital T time. That capital T can be a real number, it could be an integer or whatever. But if you look at discrete time, then discrete time signal is not always periodic in n. It may be, it may not be. When will it be periodic? It will be periodic when the ratio of omega naught over 2 pi is a rational number. Only then it will be periodic. Let's look at some examples, and you'll be able to appreciate these three differences much better. Okay, let's look at some examples. So let me just say submit some. Okay. Let me say that you have xt to be equal to cos pi t by 4, and in one go you can say that this is a periodic signal. What is the time period for this signal? Can anybody tell me? Evaluate and tell me what is the time period for this signal. I am waiting for an answer. I'm sorry? Eight, you said. Okay. So basically, I can write this signal as cos omega t, and I know that the time period for a continuous time signal is 2 pi by omega, and that comes out to be 8. Whatever is the units, it may be seconds, it may be whatever, second. So yeah, thank you. You can find out a time period for this. Okay. Now, I say find out a time period for this signal. What is the time period for this signal?
8 by pi.
Yeah. So for this,
Pi by
so for this signal, it is 2 pi by 4, which is pi by 2. In whatever units it is. Fair enough. That's fine. Capital T could be a real number. So 3.14 whatever divided by 2 will give you some value, and you'll be happy with it, and it will actually be periodic for that time. So this is the story with xt. Now let's look at their counterparts, xn. So cos pi by 4n. What do you think is the time period for this signal? Let's evaluate. Can anybody tell me? Think of it by what formula we did. This formula. I'll just show you the formula. This formula.
8, sir.
Yeah, this formula. You find out what is the minimum value for capital N for which this function is periodic.
I think, sir, 8.
You think it is 8. You think it is 8. Okay. So people are saying that it is 8. Okay. Let's look at it. So if I write this as cos omega naught n, then value for omega naught that I have is pi by 4. That's clear, right? Now I said that for it to be periodic, omega upon 2r should be equal to r over n. So if I substitute omega as pi by 4 here, I get a value 1 upon 8 should be equal to r by n, which tells me that n is equal to 8r. Now time period is always that minimum value that would repeat the signal, right? So r obviously cannot be 0 because then n will be 0. There is no point. So the minimum value for r should be 1. So that means capital N should be 8, which is right. This is the period, time period. And you can check that if you replace n by n plus 8, you are going to get the same sequence. So you do this. You get cos, you write pi by 4, n plus 8. So you get cos pi by 4n plus 2 pi, and then you get cos pi n by 4. You get the same sequence back, right? So you can find out the time period for this signal, and this signal's time period happens to be 8 units, integer units. Okay. Okay. Now, okay. So there is something already written here. Let me explain this. Okay, so let's now take xn as cos 4n Now you tell me what is the time period for this.
Irrational, sir.
I'm sorry.
Sir, n will come out to be irrational. The ratio
Yeah.
of r by n will.
So yeah. So now if the question is this period, if this signal is periodic, the answer is no. It is not periodic. It is not periodic. It is not periodic because if I write this as cos omega naught n, okay, then omega naught is 4. Then omega naught upon 2 pi is 2 by pi, and this will then be equal to r by n. But this value 2 pi by omega is actually irrational. It is not a rational value because pi is irrational. So you will never be able to find a rational number n for which it will be this, because n also has to be an integer. You can just say that n is pi by 2, but that will be incorrect because n is an integer value. It will not be pi by 2. That means this signal is not periodic. Though they may seem similar, you write cos 4t here and you write cos 4n here. All you have done is that you have changed t to n, but fundamentally the entire signal changes. It is not periodic anymore. I hope it is clear what I'm trying to say, right? Now, but then let's see this thing. So let me just write. So let me just write cos 4n, and then let me just write cos 4 plus 2 pi r n. This will give you cos 4n again. So it is periodic in frequency because I've just written omega naught in the first sequence. So here you have omega naught as 4, and in the second sequence this is omega naught plus 2 pi r. You're getting the same value, right? That means it is periodic in frequency. Let's look at cos 40. This is 4, but if I write this 4 plus 2 pi r into t, then this is cos 40 plus 8 pi rt, which is not the same as cos 40 because we do not know whether this value is going to be a real number, or even if it is a real number, is it equal to 8 pi? So not necessarily equal to cos 40. I'm sorry?
Sir, I think it will be 40 plus 2 pi rt.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So it's just a multiple, yeah, 2 pi r. So basically the thing that I want to stress is that it is not equal to cos 40. So here I gave you some examples in which I showed you whatever we had discussed initially. There is one last thing that I want to talk about when it comes to these signals, and I am now out of page, so I'm just going to probably. There is something wrong with this because digitally I must never be out of page. Oh yeah, great. Now, fourth thing. So let's look at XT. Now this is an exercise for you. I hope all of you have installed Scilab in your systems. If you've not, होगा मतलब क्योंकि we did some numerical methods before Corona hit us, so I think वो होना चाहिए. But you can you can do this even on Excel. What I'm basically wanting to tell you is, suppose you have a signal e to the power omega t. Okay, if omega increases, then if omega increases, then what do you think you can say about the rate of oscillation? Oscillation will increase. Oscillation means, the sample values, how fast will they vary. If you're increasing the frequency, frequency is what? The number of oscillations in 1 second. So if you're increasing the frequency, which means you're increasing the number of oscillations in a second, right? So oscillations will increase. This is very common. I mean, this is what we have generally seen. However, if you have xn, sorry. So if you have xn, which is this value, then this is what I'm going to tell you, which is peculiar about xn, is that if omega naught is equal to 0 or 2 pi, these are 2 points of lowest oscillation. As omega naught tends to pi, oscillation will increase. Sorry. Oscillation will increase. Just hold on for a second. Yeah. Oscillation will increase, and when omega naught will lie between pi to 2 pi, oscillation will decrease. Now this is something that I want you to check, and this is actually what happens in discrete time sequence. So it's like if you are increasing, so in discrete time sequences, omega naught has a range. It is between 0 to 2 pi. So as you increase the frequency omega naught from 0 to pi, you will see that the oscillations will increase. And when you increase it further from pi to 2 pi, you will see that the oscillations will decrease. That means for any discrete time sequence, maximum oscillation will happen at a frequency omega plus 2 pi r. This is the frequency of maximum oscillation. Max oscillation. And the frequency for minimum oscillation is 2 pi plus 2 pi r and 0 plus 2 pi. These are frequencies for minimum oscillation. I want you to check it by plotting the signals on Scilab, and you can take a small example for this. You can just simply take, you don't need to think too much on it. You just take, just a second. Yeah. So you just take a sequence cos omega naught n, okay, and you start with omega naught as 0. Then maybe you take omega naught as pi by 8. Then you take omega naught as pi by 4.
हेलो
Yeah.
सर
Yeah.
सर आपको कुछ लिख रहे हो क्या वो स्क्रीन पर?
क्या बोल रही हो मनाली?
सर वो नेटवर्क लॉस हो गया तो कुछ दिख नहीं रहा सर. आपने अभी क्या बोला, रिपीट कर सकते हैं?
अच्छा हाँ, मैंने कहा कि you take a sequence cos omega naught n, okay, and you plot this sequence on Scilab. You take n तो आपका वेरी करेगा 0 to 10. इसको n को ले लेना रेंज में से 1 to say maybe 50 or 100. You have enough number of samples to see the oscillations. n को इस रेंज में रख लेना, ओमेगा को 0 लेना और प्लॉट करना, ठीक है. ओमेगा को पाई बाय 8 ले लेना, फिर प्लॉट करना, उसको पाई बाय 4 ले लेना, फिर प्लॉट करना, उसको पाई ले लेना, फिर प्लॉट करना, उसके बाद you can take it to be, I don't know, maybe 5 pi by 4, take it to be 7 pi by 4, and then take it to be 2 pi for these values 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. और देखना what kind of sequence you will obtain. You will see that as you move from this point to this point, oscillation will increase. That means you'll get more number of samples, but you'll see fluctuation in samples higher. Matlab, they will change their polarities much faster, and then once you move from this to this point, you will see that the oscillations will again decrease, and on this point, this one and this one should essentially give you the same sequence back again. You can check this as an exercise.
सर सर ये cos ओमेगा नॉट n हम अगर प्लॉट करें तो सर ये e raised to the power j ओमेगा नॉट n के फॉर्मेट को तो मैच नहीं कर रहा है।
नहीं, हमने e to the power j omega naught n पढ़ा, right? So this is basically a complete sequence which is cos n plus j sin omega naught n. Whatever is the fundamental property of this, it is basically a superposition of this signal and this signal, right? So so that means whatever is the property of this and whatever is the property of this will be a property of this, and I can say it opposite also. So we have discussed everything using exponential signal, but that applies very well to cos or sine because essentially they are sinusoidal signals. I mean, if I look at this, what is an exponential signal? What is a complex exponential signal? It is superposition of two sinusoids. इसका constant 1 है और इसका constant j है. So we have discussed the properties of this, which essentially means we have discussed the property of cos, we have discussed the property of sine, and you can apply them to both the signals. All the properties that we have studied, you apply to cos, you will get the same result. All the properties you apply to sine, you will get the same results. You apply the same properties to cos omega t, you will get the same results. This is cos omega t plus j sine omega t. तो जो प्रॉपर्टी इसकी है वही प्रॉपर्टी इसकी होगी और इसकी होगी, क्योंकि हम चीजों को ऐड कर रहे हैं ना. एक आलू को दूसरे आलू से ऐड करोगे तो दो आलू मिलेंगे ना. तो इट्स लाइक दैट. So you'll get the same thing. Just no problems about that. Yeah. So this ends our class today. I hope that these fine points were clear, and this is an exercise that you people should do, and you will realize that the frequency will increase when you move from 0 to pi, the value for omega naught, and then from pi to 2 pi it will decrease, and it will be the same at 0 and 2 pi and highest at pi. Okay, so this point will be the highest oscillation. Highest oscillation at this point. Okay, thank you, and we meet. So actually, the reason why I have shifted today's class is because we have some work at university. We are purchasing some equipment, some softwares, and I had to go do that work. I also again have to go tomorrow. So, but if the work gets over in time, I will be back for our afternoon class. But in case I cannot take that class, we'll have that class again at 7. I hope that's okay with everybody. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
So what I'll do is by 12 I will tell you when exactly we are having the class. We'll meet on the same link, but by 12 I'll confirm whether we are having the class at the scheduled time or we are having the class at 7. I hope that this shifting of the class does not disturb you. Does it disturb you too much?
No, sir. Awesome.
Okay. I hope it's okay, because if it's not okay, you can always tell me, and we'll just probably I'll try to not do the university wala kaam at that time and then probably take the class, because a lot of things are happening in parallel. And by the way, I have something very good to tell you, and so nothing is very confirmed, but I think that the construction for a main building is going to start somewhere in November. So we are all very hopeful that yeah, just a second now. The class is over, so let's let me come face to face with you guys. Okay, so the good news is that the construction for the main building is going to start somewhere in November, and we will finish that by the limit, the time for which it has to be within the time limit within which it has to be constructed is 1.5 years. So maybe, even if you add some, reasonable estimate to it, probably by 2022 November we'll have an entire SOE main building. So I think probably after your convocation, when you get your degrees, you'll get that picture in front of your campus. Two huge hostel buildings are also going to be constructed very adjacent to the main building. So I think that the hostel problems will also very soon go away. And even now, when you come back to the university, whenever that is happening, I think your hostel is going to change from what it was before. So there are some good news. And another excellent news is that the building is just opposite to the Vasant malls. So that is also a great news. Okay, all right.
Sir, the Vasant Mall is too expensive for college kids.
No, I don't think. You can just go there and sit. I'm sure that you'll find a lot of things interesting to do there. So, anyways, so let's meet. So this is my nephew. Meet. This is the guy who troubles me. Say hello, all of them. Oh, no? Hello. Okay. All right. Thank you. Bye. Good night. Bye.
Good evening, sir.
Bye, sir.